Hey there, welcome back. In today's video I want to show you my favorite variation against the Caro-Kann. Yeah, we all know that the Caro-Kann is a tough nut to crack. But in this video I'm going to show you 3 tricks to face this super solid defense. And with these tricks I'm sure you're gonna get some points. You'll find a way to create problems to your opponents. And I'm sure you are gonna score well with these ideas. Okay, without further ado, let's jump right into the 2 knights variation. e4, c6, this is the Caro-Kann, a defense played by a lot of top players of the past, of the present, and of course of the future. Black is simply trying to play d5, is quite similar to the French, but its main difference is that the bishop is going to be able to go out. Yeah. Okay, usually d4 is the main line, but we are going to play knight f3 followed by d5, knight c3. We're favoring development rather than occupying the center with pawns. And this has got various ideas. Yes, the idea is to face d takes e4, knight takes e4 and bishop f5 with knight g3, bishop g6 and h4. Yes, now we're threatening h5, winning the bishop, h6 is forced, and knight e5 hits the bishop right away. Yeah, the nice aspect of this opening trap is that when they played with d4, d5, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g6, this is a very good variation for black, h4, h6. The difference is that playing d4 is not a way to attack the bishop. Yeah, while playing knight f3 and knight e5 instead is a fantastic way to create threats. So h4, h6, knight e5, threatening to shatter all those pawns. For instance, knight d7, knight takes g6, f takes g6. Bishop h7 is the normal move. Queen h5, forcing g6. It's the only way to defend, as queen d5 is answered by bishop c4, attacking the queen and the pawn. So g6 is forced, queen f3, threatening mates, knight f6. Yeah, instead, queen d5, queen takes d5, c takes d5, and bishop b5, winning the game right away, as king d8 loses to knight f7, and knight c6 loses to knight takes c6, b takes c6, bishop takes c6, and we capture the rook in the next move. Knight f6 is met by queen b3. Yes, we have to look for undefended pawns or attacked pawns in case of the f7 pawn, and this is too difficult for black. Yeah, the only move is queen d5. Otherwise, e6 is answered by queen takes b7, and we are capturing everything. Knight d7, knight takes c6, queen c8, bishop a6, queen takes b7, bishop takes b7. And besides having captured 2 pawns, we are going to capture the rook, as there are no free squares to place it. So, as you can see, queen d5 is forced, queen takes b7, good move, queen e5, and bishop e2. Yeah, we sacrifice the piece with check, but the rook on a8 has nowhere to go and is going to be lost. Okay, so the other popular line in the normal Caro-Kann is Karpov's favorite, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, and knight d7. This is Karpov's favorite. He played this several times, winning plenty of nice games. Yeah, black is preparing knight f6, and then knight on d7, while hinders the bishop activity momentarily, prepares c5 and controls e5. It's really well placed. After the natural bishop c4, knight gf6, knight g5, e6, queen e2, threatening knight f7, black plays knight b6, earning a tempo, and after white retreats the bishop, h6, knight gf3 and c5. This is pretty normal and there's plenty of theory. Okay, so let's make the comparison if we develop the knights rather than moving the central pawns. What is going to happen with card variation? Okay, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, knight d7. Now, knight f6 is coming, bishop c4, knight gf6, knight eg5, threatening bishop takes f7 mate, e6, and after queen e2, we are threatening knight f7. Yeah, for instance, in case of h6, knight takes f7, king takes f7, queen e6, king g6, bishop d3, king h5, and queen h3 checkmate. Okay, so for that reason, knight b6 is the normal move, but now, instead of having the pawn on d4, we have the knight on f3, and we can play knight e5, winning the pawn on f7. Well, the position we're going to get is not winning, unfortunately. It's better, but not winning after knight takes e4, queen takes e4. Black has to play something like queen d5 in order to justify losing a pawn and not getting a destroyed position with the king in the center. So after queen takes d5, e takes d5, knight gf7, rook g8, black can easily go away with an extra pawn, bishop f5, d3, castle, castle. Yeah, rook e8, instead bishop d6, we simply trade pieces with knight f7, and we are having an extra pawn, a pawn majority here. So black's only chance is to play for the bishop pair. I guess rook e1 is good enough. h6, knight gf3, bishop d6, bishop f4, and we have a solid extra pawn, while we still have to work our way to victory. If you like the ideas I'm sharing, please consider subscribing to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Yeah, and against bishop g4 I have a very special trick that I hope will give you plenty of points. I recommend the unpretentious bishop e2. Okay, we defend the knight, we unpin, and the game normally continues with e6, d4, we occupy the center, and black's strategy is directed to provoke our advance in the center with knight f6, e5, knight fd7, and now they are ready, they are happy to have this kind of position in which they have something very similar to a French defense, but the bishop is outside the pawn chain and is putting pressure on the center. But as usual, appearances are deceiving, and we have the very nice knight g5. Yeah, after bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, black has to be pretty careful. Yeah, okay, bishop e7 is the most popular, but for example, c5 is answered by queen h5, g6, queen f3, and now the only way to defend is queen e7, but loses right away to knight b5. Yeah, our knight is entering black's position. So as you can see, c5 is a horrible move. Bishop e7 is much more normal. Then we play queen h5, threatening mate, and black is unable to castle. So bishop takes g5, yeah, unable to castle because after castle, queen h7 mate. Yeah, bishop g5, getting rid of this dangerous piece. Bishop takes g5, queen b6, castle, and here we find black's king stuck in the center. Yeah, but they might be happy because they can attack our central pawns or even castle, but castling is losing right away after rook d3. Yeah, we're preparing the rook lift, and there is a very difficult situation for black. Yeah, h6 is losing right away against bishop takes h6, and g takes h6, queen takes h6, and yeah, this king is destroyed. Instead, after rook d3, something like rook e8 to play knight f8, is met by rook f3. Black can play c5, and then we have a fantastic idea. And yeah, I'm talking about knight takes d5, as e takes d5 is met by e6. Yeah, we'll take advantage of black's king position, the pawn is pinned, and the most normal move is castle. Instead, capturing with queen is followed by rook h e1 or rook e1, whatever, and we win the queen. So after castle, e takes d7, knight takes d7, d takes e5, and we're going to win a pawn and are going to preserve a big advantage. After knight c5, bishop e3, pinning and attacking twice, pinning the knight and attacking the pawn twice, or queen c5, counterattacking f2, but again, bishop e3, attacking the queen, and we're ready to capture. For instance, queen a5, queen takes d5, defending a2, attacking the knight, forcing a better ending, and we'll enjoy an extra pawn on the queen side. So still we have to work, but we have all the reasons to believe we have good chances to win the game. So that is it. I mean, those are three tricky ideas that hopefully will give you the upper hand against the Caro-Kann. Yeah, the Caro-Kann is so difficult to meet, so difficult to get a theoretical advantage against it, but this one, depending on the level you're playing on, might be good enough to get something. Okay, well, you'll tell me your experience. Please leave me your ideas in the comments below, and see you next time. Goodbye.